Hello there, I'm Crimson Minxxx, and today we're going to be talking about the difference between stripping and pole dancing. There seems to be a lot of confusion out there about the difference between stripping and pole dancing. And to be honest, it's completely understandable since pole dancing has really only even been a thing for about the past 10 years or so. Hell, I'll be honest, the first time I saw a pole dance studio, I for real thought it was a training space for strippers. I had seriously never heard of pole dancing until I took my first class in 2013. And the confusion also makes sense because contemporary pole dance as we know it today did indeed evolve from the strip club. So, very brief history. Back in the late 90s and early 2000s, strippers began teaching non-strippers how to dance on a pole outside of clubs. And eventually these strippers began opening their own pole studios and creating pole dance DVDs and building larger online communities, yada, yada, yada. So if you want to know more about that, I'm going to put a link in the notes below to my video, History of Contemporary Pole Dance, which I created with the Fistful of Steel documentary, which is an upcoming documentary about pole dance. So back to the difference between stripping and pole dancing. Stripping, or working as an exotic dancer, is a job. There is a demand for it. Adults love going to strip clubs. Other adults love working in strip clubs. And I am unequivocally saying that there is no shame in being a stripper. So working as a stripper, essentially you work at a club or a bar or maybe even a private party, and your job is to strip off clothes in some capacity, and you do it in a sexy, titillating manner, and you get tips. And as the pole dancing equals stripping perception goes, there are poles in strip clubs that dancers dance on. As an aside, it's funny because I've interviewed many strippers on my Parlour pole dance podcast, and they've all pretty much confirmed that pole dancing skills are not what gets you paid as a stripper. In reality, strippers make their money by being up close and engaging with clients and by doing lap dances. So, point being, most strip clubs have a stage with one or more poles that strippers dance on and around as part of their stage performance. But it's not the entirety of their job. And before I move on, I'm throwing in a caveat that there are strippers out there who are extremely skilled at pole dancing, and that is indeed actually how they make a majority of their money working at strip clubs. Especially as pole dancing becomes more popular and there's more training facilities and inspiration out there. But in general, this is still an exception to the rule. So, now that we understand the basics of being a stripper and how a pole is integrated into a strip club, let's move on to pole dancing. Pole dancing can also be a job, but first let's start with it as a hobby since that accounts for a majority of the pole dancers out there. Very simply put, pole dancing is dancing on a pole. Therefore, it encompasses a variety of styles. Traditionally, pole dance is sexy, as we did say it evolved from the strip clubs. However, there are countless ways to dance, so why would throwing a pole into a mix change that? So yes, there is strip club style pole dance, but at the same time, you can easily find people practicing lyrical or dramatic, cirque, sensual, hip-hop, artistic, comedic styles of pole dance. And I know I'm not covering everything here, so for all intents and purposes, just imagine a way that you can dance off a pole and know that you can dance that same way on a pole. And in fact, some people negate the dancing part altogether and just use pole for fitness and sport. Point being, the pole is just an object, so pole dancing is whatever the dancer makes of it. And the way it works is there are studios around the world with poles installed where people go to train and practice pole dancing. And there's also a thriving online community of home polers where people connect online and practice and dance on poles installed in their own homes. So, as we mentioned, stripping is a job. And it's a job that a lot of dancers enjoy, but the point is still to get paid. Now, in terms of pole dancing, people get into it for a variety of reasons. And I'm actually going to put a link to my past video, Top 10 Reasons to Take Pole and Erotic Dance Classes, below, if you want to go more into depth on that. But really, for most people, pole dancing is not a job, it's a hobby. Some people take up bowling, some people are into yoga, some people start gardening, and some people get into pole dancing. As mentioned before, pole dancing can also be a job, but whereas strippers get paid in tips, In general, professional pole dancers get paid flat rates and work in more of an entertainment capacity, such as corporate events, private parties, music videos, or live performances. And of course, there are professional pole dancers within the industry who teach and tour and compete and who own studios. I personally pole dance as a hobby, and I prefer the more erotic, sensual side of pole dance. That being said, I've never been a stripper, but I respect strippers, and I am not in conflict with them any more than I am in conflict with people who prefer pole in a more fitness or sporty capacity. Honestly, I think diversity in pole dance just makes our community stronger and more accessible. So as I see it, it's not complicated. It's all based on intention. We have to respect that an object such as a pole does not define the person who dances on it. Instead, let the dancer and his or her purpose and personal intent speak for itself. So to sum it up, some strippers are pole dancers, some pole dancers are strippers, but not all strippers are pole dancers, and not all pole dancers are strippers. And hopefully this video helps you understand and respect both. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe below, and I'll see y'all soon.